Hello, I'm back. I don't know if you guys are still around. I don't even know. Does it, yeah, rip? Uh, it took the stream too. Just, no sound. Yeah, sorry. That'll come back in a second. Oof. Oof. We're back. Damn, that was crazy. I don't know what happened. That's the first time I've been using this computer for a good second. Let's see. I'm trying to think. So I'm on Arch Linux right now, and I've been using it. We can go to full camera because I got nothing on screen. Um, I've been using it like no problems for a couple of months now, and yeah, that's the first time it's ever gone full dead on me. I don't know. I mean, maybe setting up that Windows drive is not a bad idea. Let's go back to this. Nope. Okay. We're back in action. I don't know if that's going to mess with my YouTube stream. I have a really hard time knowing that. How long was I going for? Like a minute? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, if it's going to pick it back up. So annoying. 66. Yeah, it's gone. It didn't save it. Oh, my computer sounds like it's about to take off. What did I do? Oh well, oh well. Give me a second, guys. I just got to set back up to YouTube. Not now. Excellent connection. That's great. Let's try to keep it that way. It did mess with the YouTube stream. That's so disappointing. I'm going to have 2 streams now. Oh well. It is what it is. I wonder if that... I was doing a big transfer of files. I wonder if that messed with it. Okay. We're back. We're back. Let's just pretend like that never happened and hope that it doesn't happen again. I am recording. Okay, good. All right. Was I answering? Oh, I was talking about mobile games. Don't worry about it. I actually don't know when I got cut off because I was just yapping, and then I realized my mouse wasn't moving. Okay, so after Godot crashed, we lost our reload, and now I'm going to create another reload, which is just so much fun. Blaster key reload. I guess it's just going to be like less fancy this time because I don't have the motivation to do it nice again. I'll just fix it up later. 1 second. I think I had it at 1.5. So obviously start and finish is the same pose. We'll rotate it up, go like this way, and then bring it back. That's probably a bit too far. Yeah, that looks good. So it goes bloop, and then we go yup, and then rotate it like this, and then do something like this, and go bloop. Chuck it in. I think the chat's like all messed up too. Well, not the YouTube chat is messed up because I can't see it anymore, and I know Mr. Forgettable is still in here because he's a goat like that. Pop out chat. Drop that in there. Cool. Okay, we're back in action. Ooh. It's a new stream. Yeah, I can tell on the back end because it was like it was showing me the stats for the last one. Rip. I wonder, I think I have to be like, I'm not like at the, at a high enough level to be able to have them stitch it together or something like that. I don't know how much time you get as well. I was gone for a solid minute. I was panicking because like I just like, hit the power button on the computer and just killed it because I couldn't get it to respond. And then it wouldn't boot back up. It wouldn't mount the home drive, which was like really freaky. It happens from time to time because of the way I've set up my computer, but like It just kept happening like 3 times in a row, and it's faster to reboot the computer and hope for it to work again than it is to like mount it and then like get it to go. So you just like reboot, praying that it's going to work. It's kind of like a bit of a gamble. Anyway, okay. Don't buy a pre-built, man. I think, well, actually, it just depends. But like, I guess if you're going to school, you probably want to get a laptop. I had like, when I was at school, it was a long time ago now, I had like those netbooks. I don't know if you guys remember them, like tiny little laptops. And then I had a PC at home. Yeah, you use your laptop. It can be tough. Like, what you got to do is you got to get one that can like, it can game and all that kind of stuff, and then you can do game dev and stuff on it, but also use it to write like your papers or whatever. The battery sucks. Yeah, it happens. Like, it's tough with laptops. I haven't like mained a laptop for a really long time, like since high school. But I have one for work. But yeah, it just sits on my desk, and I never unplug it or take it anywhere, except when I go into the office. But then I just plug it in at the office, So I never have to think about it. But if I did, I bet you it does suck. It's pretty old now. $800? Is that a lot of money for you? Like, for $800 in Australia would be like not much for a laptop. Like, a good laptop costs like $2,000 here, but Australian dollars. So like, I don't know, halve it for American. So I guess, yeah, $800 is a fair bit. Yeah, but our currency isn't as strong, so the number's bigger, but like, it means I basically just halve it. The exchange rate's not quite that. It's more like 60% or 70%, depending on the time of day or time of year or whatever's happening. When I was like a good, like 10 years ago, it was like at parity. Like, when the Australian dollar and the US dollar were the same value, it was amazing. Things were so cheap. We were just importing things left and right. Like, I was just going on eBay buying stuff from America because it was so cheap. I want to check Twitch. Okay, we're going. We're good. Okay. All right. I should probably be saving like tons because like this is unstable. Am I actually going to switch back to Windows? I don't think so. Do I want to have like a dual built? I can speak English. Dual boot system? Yes, I think that's probably a little bit safer. I'm totally lost. We're going to go weapon resources. Blaster Q is still around. We will add this animation. We'll go manage animations. I got to rename and then copy it and then paste it in and add global at the start. Okay, out of ammo. This one's easy because we'll just have it go back and forth like no problems. Blaster Q OOA. Okay, save it because I'm paranoid. Okay, let's just go back like this. Actually, I have to key it. Did I just like... Whoa. What the heck? Active. Blaster Q OOA. Okay. Out of ammo. Key the starting frame, key the ending frame. That's the key thing that I need to remember every time I do this because we want them to be the same. Otherwise, it's going to look strange. This can be a short animation. We'll make it 0.2. Go like this, and then give it a shake. Probably not to the side. And that's fine. Yeah, that works. Animation rename, copy that, and we'll go to the blaster queue. We'll paste that in, and we'll copy that. And the last thing we need is a melee animation, so that if we whack somebody with it, it looks like a, I don't need to put that, blaster Q, melee. And this will be, how should I do this? Should I rotate it to the side? I kind of want to do like the Halo style. Go like forward like that. That's how it looked in Halo, right? Dunk. That's too slow. It needs to be like on that, like straight away. You basically want to skip straight into that frame. Probably, I dare say, a little bit too quick now. Okay, that's good. And then the secret sauce is to do a little bit of extra. And obviously we need a return pose. We'll keep it basic for now. Whoa. Duplicate. That is that right? That doesn't seem right. Did I duplicate the wrong pose? What is going on? Are they not? Then it's not within the keyframes, that's what it is. I figured it out. Okie dokie. Doink. Alright, that's fine. Rename that. Copy. Open this bad boy up. Blaster Q. This isn't even the good part. I should have done this off stream. Ah, well. Okay, weapon stats. Here we go. Okay, yes, it does have ammo, magazine. I think 2 because there's like 2 barrels there. That makes sense. The maximum ammo that we're going to carry, I'll make it 6. How much damage does it want to do? Now 100 sends these sends like boxes and stuff in the level flying off like crazy. So I think it does need to be high. I'm going to start conservative though, and go with 20. See how that looks, and then go from there. Because 20 is quite a lot in the game. In the template level, like 1 will kill a target, if that makes sense. So 20 would kill a lot of different targets. The melee damage, we'll just make it like 2. Auto fire, absolutely not. Fire range, it doesn't matter because this is going to be a projectile weapon. So I'm just going to make it 100 meters. But it really doesn't matter. Can be dropped, absolutely. It doesn't have a pack scene yet, but we can make one. So for the weapon drop scene, I can come in here and I'll make a rigid body. A rigid body 3D, if I can find it. And the model that we want is the Blaster Q. So we'll come to this and we'll drop that in, we'll make it local. We'll get rid of this extra node because it's kind of like not necessary. And let's have a look at this. Looks like it's in a good spot. Looks like it's in the center. We will create a, I've got so many options. I think that's fine. We'll go with what is it called? A simplified convex collision or single convex? I can't remember which one I chose. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Actually, let's be realistic. Like, it just needs to be a square. Like, we can get like probably a lot of performance. Like collisions. We don't need to be calculating that many collisions here. So let's just make it not a cylinder. That was the wrong shape. This one here, and then just like and then just make it short, bring it in. And that is more than enough. I'm going to get my number pad because I got like a... Oh, look, I can show you guys. I got like a separate number pad from my keyboard and it matches. It's really nice. Like, I got it for my birthday. But it means that I can like ditch the number pad sometimes because I need it for work. But like sometimes when you're gaming, you don't need that. But for game dev, actually, it's like kind of nice to have around depending on what you're doing. Like the hotkeys for like rotating to different views is good. Okay, that's fine. Oh, I guess it could be a little skinnier. All right, that's pretty good. Let's save this scene. Spawnable objects, weapons, and we'll call this one Blaster Key. Okay. Let is have a look at that. How's the stream doing? Everyone's come back in. That's good. We're back at it. Nice. Alrighty. So this does need a script. Go Blaster Key. And I've got one at the ready. So we will go and find that. I guess it's going to be under scripts. Maybe even under spawnable objects. I wonder where it... rigid. Basic rigid body. Pickup, I think it's called. Weapon pickup. Weapon state machine pickup weapons. And I've got reload clip and weapon pickup. Okay. And it is a weapon slot. Since it's going to be picked up in the world, I do need to populate this. Let's give it some ammo. Current ammo is 2, reserve ammo is 5, that's fine. And the resource, it's going to be Blaster Key. And so here's an example of like why a resource is so good, because now like I don't need to give this a node and then when the weapon is picked up instantiate that. I just say, hey, look, that's the resource you need to add to the array, and it just does it. And so it's much simpler in terms of like picking up a weapon. It just does it. Okay, so now it has all the information of what that is. I can even operate it on here if I'm not gonna. Weapon drop is this scene here, Blaster Key. Let's go find it. I should probably give it a more detailed name, but whatever. It's fine for now. Recursion detected. Oh yeah, that's right. It gets cranky. How did I get around this? Because it's got this on it and then it spawns this. Let me just try and remember, because this is a fairly new feature that I implemented. The weapons group, I'm pretty sure it's not a class. I mean, it is, yeah, it does have itself a class name, but I don't think I'm using it. I think I gave it a class name as weapon pickup. It's not even like typed correctly. Let me just fix that. So like, it does have a class name, but realistically it's just a rigid body because I haven't like made this inherit anything yet. And to be honest, like now that I've made it a resource, because it wasn't a resource to begin with, it was actually, it had a string reference to the weapon, and then on the player you had like a record of all the weapons and it would just go look it up like a database. But I changed it to resource because it just works a little bit better. But now, that was a couple of weeks ago, and I don't remember how I managed to get around it. Blaster Eye Trez. Oh, you know what it is? On the actual scene, I don't have this, so it's empty, right? But then when I bring it into the world, it's like an instantiated version of it, if that makes sense. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Like if I actually go and look at the weapon drop scene, Blaster N doesn't have a weapon slot on it. and it just does in the world. So I should do the same here for consistency. So actually clear that. So there's a lot of legacy code on this, where I'm doing stuff like I'm working out whether or not it's ammo or a weapon, but that's not really even in use anymore. I don't think, I could be misspeaking there. And realistically, all this does is just after 2 seconds, it can't be picked up in the first 2 seconds that it exists in the world. And that's just to stop the player from automatically picking it up when you drop it. And that's it. It's got a weapon slot on it. And when it's got, so if we have a look at like Blaster N and all these other blasters, they don't have anything on them, but on the player, we've got an area 3D that is detecting everything on layer 4, which is for weapons. And it has a signal that's connected to the weapon manager. And all the weapon manager does is go, is there a weapon slot on it? What's the weapon? And if it doesn't exist in our current list of weapons, then we're going to add it. If it does, we're going to take the ammo from it or check to see if we need to take the ammo for it. But if it's a body type ammo, see, it's kind of funny that I've set it up this way because I've also saying like, oh, if it's a weapon, you can pick it up. Because like, I use the same script for ammo. I should probably fix that at some point. It's kind of confusing. But yeah, so that's basically what it does. It just says, hey, is this in the list of weapons that you already have? And if it's not, then you can pick it up. Okay, so Blaster Q needs to also be put onto layer 4 before I forget. I'm pretty sure I can take it off the mask. I don't know. Let's double check. Oh no, it's actually on tons of layers. 4, 1, 3. That's so it doesn't fall. It has to be on the world layer so that it collides with the world. And we do want it to collide with objects and other weapons, and then it'll just get detected. Okie dokie. Okay, so let's add this to the world. And also go back to Blaster Q. Not that. Go back to the resource. And now that it no longer has that, I can drop that on. No. Excuse me. No problems. And we'll add that to the list of weapons on this like picker. Yep. And what we do here, I'm going to need to add docs about how this needs to work so that it's not as confusing. We'll just drive that over there. And here we can add the weapon slot and put the Blaster Q on it, and then it won't cause recursion. Which is a problem that I'm struggling to deal with, actually, when working with resources. Recursion is a little bit annoying because if it was a class, I don't think that would be an issue, but I could be wrong there too. I'm not too sure. Okie dokie. Okay, so next thing for Blaster Q is the weapon spray. I don't think I'm going to bother with that. That's an optional parameter because like it's a rocket launcher. Generally speaking, it's not being fired that quickly anyway. So I'm going to skip that one. What is the length of the shoot? I don't remember. It was long, I think. Like I made it like a second. Oh, I mean, that's pretty quick, but whatever. We'll roll with it. We won't give it any kind of spray. We don't want it to be like inaccurate. Okay, and then we just need the projectile to load, which is the thing that we mainly want to work with. So projectiles are, when I say projectile, it means a completely different thing in this particular project than it would mean for other projects, because this is a projectile to load. So it can be a hit scan, it can be a physical projectile, like a rigid body projectile. Basically, when you click shoot in this template, the weapon manager doesn't do anything. It loads a projectile, and the projectile has information on what it does. And so the weapon, it doesn't really know how it's meant to behave. It could fire a projectile, it could fire a hit scan, and it can fire a rocket launcher. And any weapon can fire any projectile. It's just a matter of deciding which one. It's not something that the, like in game, like say if you were like playing a game that was made with this template, it's not going to affect that. But as you're designing weapons, you say, hey, I think the sniper should be a projectile, should be a rigid body so that we get gravity and drop off. So we're going to change it to that. Or you're not liking how that works, change it to a hit scan and we're going to manually calculate the drop off on the sniper. You know, stuff like that is very easy to do here because ultimately all that code is on a separate script. So we can create that projectiles. And you guys can't see that because my head's in the way. The chat's in the way. I have a folder called projectiles. Doesn't matter. It's not important. That's why I put my head here. It's because it's where the file system is and no one cares about that. Okay. So I don't even think we're going to need to create a custom projectile. So I'm going to create, let me just find the actual project, spawnable objects, projectile to load. And I'm going to find the basic rigid body projectile. Obviously it doesn't look like anything. You can't even see anything because there's nothing in the scene. It's just a bunch of information. We're saying that it's a rigid body projectile. We do want it to display the debug decal because there's no decals in the game yet. It has a velocity of 50, yada, yada, yada. But we are going to save this scene as, and we're going to say rocket launcher projectile. Rocket launcher projectile. And we are going to need, now that I think about what I'm doing, I'm going to need to create some kind of extra logic, probably, because ultimately at rocket launcher, what it does is when it makes contact, it explodes, and the explosion is the thing that does the damage. So let us, first of all, remove the current rigid body. Projectile velocity, it's going to go a lot slower because it's a rocket launcher. They don't go quick. Expiry time 10 seconds. I'm going to make it 20. Basically what happens after 20 seconds, if the projectile doesn't hit anything, it despawns. And the rigid body projectile, so this is the part where we just, it's literally just a rigid body with a model on it. It doesn't have to be anything specific. So we will go with a rigid body. For some reason it didn't come up, I don't know why. And we need to add a model to the scene. I'm going to take the Kenny weapons. There's like a foam bullet, you know, like that's fine, whatever. Do I want the low poly? Yeah, okay. We probably want the one with the like little pink thing on top. I'd say let's go with that one. And make this local. And make local. It's so small. We probably need to make it bigger. I'm going to delete that node and rotate that. So the key thing to remember, and this is probably going to be the same for most people's projects, is that it needs to be on the negative Z axis facing that way, because that's the way the camera faces by default in Godot. I think that's why I do it that way. I could be wrong. Could just be something I decided to do, and now I have to do that for all the projects I have. Okay, so let's scale this bad boy up, because it's a rocket launcher after all. And then maybe I put like a material on it to make it like look a little different. And I'll save this. I don't know where I saved the other one, to be honest. Rocket launcher projectile, basic rigid body, melee roger. What did I save my other bullet? Hit bug. Spawnable objects? No, I was just there. Bullet, I think it is. So I'll just call this one rocket. Doesn't have a home. I suppose I need to get one. Okay, so let's make this unique. and put like a custom surface on it, because this is kind of boring. It's fully metallic, but I think what I'm going to do is give it an emission and make it glow like I did for the other laser gun. It's just going to be bigger. Emission. I'm going to make it red, and I'm going to turn it all the way up. It doesn't look like it used to. Shading. Albedo. Let's just make this red too. So that it's just a red glowing thing that's going to blow up when it hits whatever it hits. And that's good enough for me right now. And we can add that. We'll just search for rocket in the list and drop that in. And realistically, like, that is really all I need. I'm going to, do I rename that? No, I don't need to. Oh, it crashed. Hopefully we don't lose the stream again. Good Lord. It literally crashed before I got a chance to drag it back over. I really need to investigate that. Okay, we didn't lose too much though. I also forgot to add like a mesh to this. We'll need to create a separate collision shape because I don't want to derive one from that because it won't work. I think this bullet is still too small. I guess we'll find out when we start shooting it. The trick to good physics projectiles is to make the rigid body just a little bit bigger than the actual projectile. The other thing that I'm forgetting as well is that you need to set up continuous contacts, and just set this to like 5 or something. And then obviously you want to monitor the contact, and you should be good. Like, I don't think in the other blaster there's no script on that. It's just nothing. It's going to have mass, and I'm going to give it no gravity. It's just not going to fall because rockets are generally like propelled, right? I suppose what you could do is, if you wanted to get fancy, you do like a strip where it's got no gravity, and then like after a couple of seconds it like slowly gains its gravity, so it'll start falling. That could be fun, but for now we're just gonna leave it like this. And it died again. Oh, we're in for a bad one, dude. I don't know what to do. It's a real bummer. Don't know if I should run back to Windows. Well, not run back. I haven't used Windows in years. Maybe I need to switch to Ubuntu or something more stable. Don't know. Okay. So we are going to jump over to the back to the weapon resource and just add this. It's not going to blow up yet. I just want to get it to a working state, and then we can work on that code. So I need to go back to the weapon resource, blaster queue, and this is the projectiles to load. So that's the thing that we just created. It's going to be under projectiles to load and rocket launcher projectile. We drop that there. And realistically, that should be everything that we need. So I should be good to like jump in the game and test it out. Hopefully nothing breaks. I guess we're about to find out. Well, It fell off the wall, but that's okay. Okay, so we can pick it up, no problems. I don't think I set up clipping. Yeah, it's going to go through the wall and dunk. It's very slow. I think it does need to be bigger. I forgot to set up the bullet point. There's a point in 3D space where I can tell it where to spawn this. And then obviously I think it's going a little bit too slow. So I need to make the rigid body bigger. I need to make the bullet move faster, or the rocket move faster. And I need to fix the clipping. Oh, it's such a snail's pace. So let's have a look. Blaster Q. Actually, that's in the projectile, isn't it? Open scene. Project. Let's just bump it up to 20. Okay. Now, what is going on in the script here? And what do I need to change to make this possible? Obviously, we need to pass on the damage information when the rocket hits and explode. So realistically, I probably I'm going to launch the rigid body projectile. And that is basically, we're spawning it and we're connecting the signal for the on body entered. And where is that? On body entered. So it's checking to see if what you hit is actually a legitimate target, and then it's just calling a basic hit successful. So this is the bit of code that actually does the damage. And I'm going to need to probably do an override, I would say. I've got a separate function here called override collision, and I'll just have to define it myself because realistically, I want it to explode on contact, and there's nothing in here. I don't want to change the code for it like a one-off thing. That's sort of the whole idea behind the override, where I will need to sort of define it separately, because realistically, I just kill it. Or, no, it doesn't work. I was going to say, maybe I could like set up a script so that it's like a separate one, so that like the individual projectile gets an instruction to like, you hit something as well, but the damage is actually being dealt here. So like, I'm going to deal double damage to the object that you hit and things around it. Maybe that's what you want. I don't know. I feel like that's not a behavior you want to like bake into a template like this. So I'm going to avoid that, and I guess I'll need to set up a child script on this to make it work, which is kind of annoying. So I'm going to detach that script, attach another one, and under scripts, I've got projectiles, and this is where I had to do one for shotgun, and I had to do one for melee, because ultimately those behave very differently to like a typical projectile. We don't really need anything like that. It's going to override I think it's just called projectile script. So this is a class and not a resource. So I can define how it behaves in the world. I don't need to give it a class name, that's fine. And there's a function in the projectile script called override collision. And a lot of this is just, so it takes the camera collision, which is basically the point in the 3D world that the projectile needs to travel to, and it takes the damage. And so from here, we can just say, launch the rigid body, but we want to give it a separate condition for when it makes contact, which is to explode and not to actually do any damage. So the function, I'm just going to copy it because realistically, I don't need to rewrite everything here. This is fine in terms of getting it moving, but I do see it's connecting this signal down here on body entered. I need it to connect to a different signal. I don't think there's a way. I suppose like I could do something fancy, like I could pass in the name of the signal that I wanted to connect it to here. But I'm just going to override this particular function. I wonder if I could just override. Let's try that. I wonder if I could just override this function, on body entered. And just like delete that. I'm curious to see how this behaves, actually. So it's going to be a rigid body projectile. It's not going to be an override now. And we said at 20 expiry time, 10 seconds, I guess. We'll make it 20. The rigid body projectile. I have to do it all again. That's so annoying. Let's give it a save because I'm paranoid about everything crashing. The rocket launcher projectile. Projectiles to load. No. This is spawnable objects. Rocket. Bit confusing, isn't it? We'll think about it. Okay, so we're going to override the on-bodied script, the on-bodied function, and basically just take out that hit successful function here. All of this, like it's, we don't want to do that. We want to do that on the explosion. So we'll just comment that out because we want to come back to it. We're going to load a decal. No, I don't even think we're going to do that. Like I don't think that's helpful. Projectile key free. No, we want to do something different here. We want to, this is going to need a script. Oh, GMG 777 Pro on YouTube says that he loves me so much and that I helped him a lot in programming. Hey, there's no problems, man. I love you too. Thanks for hanging around. Okay, so what are we going to do with this projectile? So I've got a couple of options here. Does this load the explosion or does the projectile? If the projectile loads the explosion, I don't need to worry about where it is. So that's probably the easiest place to do it. And I can just call that function. This is passing in this underscore proj, which is the object, this rigid body. But we also could just get that information. Maybe it's easier if it's all on this. And I can just say, hey, so I could do another export here. Export var explosion. And it's going to be some kind of node. I don't know what kind. I think I did area 3D last time. You could also like raycast, but that's not. It could be a shapecast. That could work. I'd like to try that. Yeah, like we could move it to the location, detect everything that it's hit, and then like based on where it's hit, like get a direction from that. Like that's your raycast. And it's going to be a sphere shape, I guess. We'll make it a sphere. Target location can be 0, 0, 0. And how big is the radius? I guess we will make it like 2. A 2 meter radius for explosion. It seems kind of conservative. Yeah, but that's okay. We'll go with that. We'll call this explosion radius. That's not how you spell radius, is it? And then we just pass that there. Okay. So now what we can do, I guess we don't need to know the projectile. We don't care about it. We're going to delete it, and then we're going to get information about where the makes me wonder. I'm kind of curious now, if I turn on debug, does this actually move with the object or does it stay where it is? I don't think I ever answered that question. It spawns it and gives it a direction. No, it doesn't go with it. But that's okay, because we can just go, oh, this is where it hit, go to that spot, force an update, and then read all the objects that are around it. I think that would work best. So we will go and what am I doing? I am looking to enable debug. No, I'm not going to do that because I already answered the question myself. So what we can do is well, let's not delete it straight away. First, we need to find out the collision location, which is just going to be a vector 3, and it will be the projectile's location dot global position, I think is the variable that we want to get. And then we want to set the explosion to be its global position to equal the collision location. Projectile spawned dot erase. Huh. Are we still doing that? Yeah, I guess we are. Yeah, we do need to, actually, I remember why I do that. Anyway, not important. What we want to do now is actually go get a variable here, var targets, I guess we'd say. We'll call them that. I don't know what kind of object they will be. That could be anything really. And we'll say that they'll be equal to the explosion dot, I believe it's get collision count. And we probably also want to force an update after we move it. So explosion dot force shapecast update, so that we get a fresh read, and then we'll get the collision count, and then we'll go for T in targets, and we'll go for now let's just print them out to make sure that things are working. Print T. Yeah, let's just go with that, and then we'll delete the projectile, and then we'll erase this. Let's see what that's like. Okay. Huh. It kind of already worked, eh? I'm pretty sure it just hits one object. It doesn't actually like... I'm going to need to turn on collision shape. I think that debug shape is a little bit too small. That shapecast might be a little bit too small. Visible collision shapes, or if it's not actually going to the right location. And it gets deleted really quick, so I'm just going to not delete it. Well, actually, let's just deleting this. Let's just do a return on that. Like, just pass. Don't delete this. Because I don't even know if it's working. Well, I guess it... No, it's working. Okay. It's also moving with me, which is like not good. But I think it was like in the right spot, right? It's very hard to tell where it is in 3D space because it's not top level. So let's set it as top level. Let's try that again. I think I'm onto something. Yeah, it's a little bit small. I think it needs to be at least twice as big. So we'll make it 4 and let's just make it 5. Make it nice. Solver bias. Collide with bodies. That's fine. I really want it to be colliding with every single body. I'm pretty sure they're capable of that. So I can't see why it shouldn't report more than a larger. It should report 1, right? It says 0. They're obviously not on the same collision. What is the enemy's layer? Possible ban evader. Metroid Boy, I just saw the direct announcement on Discord. Are you going to keep the direct as a video? Yes, I am also streaming to YouTube. So if Metroid Boy, if you want to like watch it on YouTube later, my computer crashed halfway through, so the VOD's going to be split in 2, and eventually I'll make like a stream highlight, like if I can condense this down into a single video of me creating a rocket launcher. Chuck us a follow, Metro. It says you're a possible ban evader. Account created 2 minutes ago. Oh, did I make you create an account just to say hi to me? I'm sorry. But yeah, chuck us a follow, mate. Oh wow, that's crazy. Yeah, me too, actually. But I'm trying to diversify. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. So what I'm doing is essentially like every single announcement that I put on Discord and YouTube, I'm pushing out the Twitch link, even though you can watch it on YouTube. I'll always stream to YouTube because obviously my audience is biggest there. So like it's going to make the stream better if I've got people to talk to. But yeah, I'm going to make a bunch of content out of this. That's the plan anyway. I'm doing the pirate software meta at the moment. That's what I'm trying out these last couple of weeks. And I think the stats are up, so it's working. Okay. So, okay. I was trying to figure out what layer this needed to be on, and I think for a target, the collision layer is... Hello, Rocky. How are ya? World. And I'm good, thanks. How's it going in your world? Enemies is layer 6. Why is only Mr. Forgettable chatting? Because Mr. Forgettable is the best. You guys can all chat. I'm here. I'm like watching it. If you guys say something, I'll reply. There was more going on in the chat, but my computer crashed and we lost everything. It was very devastating. Okie dokie. Projectiles spawned. Da, da. My day is pretty good. I had a very busy day. It was my niece's birthday and I went to my family house and we obviously had a birthday party, which was really fun. Hang out with all the siblings and my parents and all that. And before that, I went for a walk at the beach. It was nice. And now I'm hanging out with you guys. So it's a great day. You're planning on making your first devlog and you're nervous. Listen, don't be nervous because how hot is it today in Australia? It's not hot at all. It's winter. Are you in Australia? It was it was actually really cold this morning. It was like 5 degrees Celsius, I should say. Rocky, don't be nervous about making a devlog. Here's the way I look at it with the algorithm and how things work in social media today. If it's bad, no one will see it. So you've got nothing to lose. It's just going to get buried. Maybe you get a couple of views. If you're concerned about people seeing it, well, then that's easy enough. Just don't share it on your personal socials. But if it's good, it's going to blow up and you're going to get, subscribers, right? You get the response from the algorithm. But if it's bad, it just gets buried and gone. I post stuff sometimes, I post shorts and they'll get 100 views. And if it's a bad short, it's a bad short. No one saw it. And I can come back and try again another day. So that's just sort of how I try to think about it. The algorithm is your friend when it comes to being scared about posting content, because if it's bad, the algorithm's going to protect you. No one will see. But best of luck. I hope it goes well. You should drop it on the Discord and I'll watch it. Projectiles to spawn. Right, okay, so we need to sit it on the layer 6. And explosion radius, let's put this on layer 6. And now it will be good. That's the right attitude. So you don't have to worry about, don't be nervous, because you're going to get subs and likes and all that kind of stuff, and it's going to feel good. And then, yeah, You become a YouTube partner and the rest is history. Stuck chasing those 1 out of 10s forever. Hello again, Metroid Boy. How are ya? Okay. I'm not getting anything back now. What the heck? This is frustrating. I was hoping I would be able to use these. I really like using collision shapes because they're better than areas. But if this doesn't work, I'm going to have to switch to an area because then at least I can figure it out. Like, it'll work. No targets. The number is 0. Why is it 0? Let's get back to the world. Let's have a look at the physics objects. You know what I'm doing wrong? I'm sort of just realizing it. They're not on the enemy layer. I shouldn't be looking at the... Okay. So think about it for a second. We do need to know what the enemies are. We do need to know the rigid... We do need to know the... Yeah, I will... I'll cut it up. I'm a bit slow, but I'll do my best. Not important. You are important, by the way. Not important. So 6 is enemies, and these sit on objects. Huh. That's an interesting crash. The game was still running. Alrighty. We're making progress here. I think the key issue that I'm going to have here... Oh, come on. What is going on today? I need to have like some kind of ritual for when I start my streams so that Godot doesn't crash like crazy on me. It's got to have something to do with the encoder, like the encoder on why aren't things being identified correctly? You don't have to do that. I'm sort of just like checking things, trying to figure out like sometimes like it's just a matter of poking at things. Oh, I put the wrong graphics on those and that's why the answer is wrong. Yeah, dude, the other night, I literally spent an hour and a half trying to figure out why when I dropped a single particular weapon that the game crashed. It was just one weapon. Why did it crash? And the reason was because the animation that I had in the weapon resource was wrong. And I spent an hour and a half checking code. And if I had just gone and checked the animations, everything would have been fine. It's so crazy. It's like, I don't know what to say. Like it's just one of those things. Sometimes you be ramming your head against something, trying to figure it out. Rucky, yes, you can show me your thumbnail. I'm always happy. I'm not very good with thumbnails. I'll be honest, like my CTR, my click-through rate is like 5% or less on YouTube. It's something that I need to improve on because I think like the content's okay. It's just like my marketing is not. Okay, so this needs to be on 5 and 6 at least. So the goal is enemies, rigid body projectiles, really? Objects is the one I want. So I wanted to look at objects. I wanted to look at enemies. Anything that, not necessarily, check Discord. Did you drop it in the Discord or did you just send it to me as a DM? I'll check. I won't show it to anyone though. Or is that the one you posted the other day? Someone was posting Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah, I actually responded to that, Rocky. I said I think the text could stand out a bit more, but other than that, it's fine. I like the little Godot face. It's cute. Makes me wonder if, is there a way that I can, in ideas and feedback. Ideas and, oh yeah, I see that. Okay. I think this is pretty good. Like, we've got the Marshmallow Man, we've got the ant, and I think it's eating the marshmallow. Like, it makes me think, like, what is this? You know? You've got Dream Game, which we all know gets like a million clicks. You put that word in your YouTube title, you put it in your thumbnail, Dream Game. It's like insta views, basically. It's cheat codes for YouTube. Well, it was at least like 10 years ago. Maybe it's not now. I don't know. But like, that was always like an easy way to get views. I'm wondering, is there a way for me to see like which one of my thumbnails has like the highest CTR? I'm checking the content analytics. More metrics. I don't know, actually. Card clicks, end screens. You'd think it would be impressions, impression click-through rate. Here we go. So, making enemy AI. This is in the last 20 days. How has that got the highest click-through rate? It doesn't get any views. So, that's still crazy, though. CTR, yeah, I sort of average about 5%. So, I'm definitely not the best person to be talking to. I've got a couple of ones that like hit over that. My latest one did really well. Like, it had a great CTR, but I just get lucky. Like my strategy for like YouTube thumbnails is like, don't think too much about it. I would give it like 7 out of 10. I think it'll get clicks. It's better than what I used to make, that's for sure. You found me through my AI, enemy AI. See, that video is super old, and but it had a good. That was the one that like sort of started moving things forward for me. But yeah, that one did okay for me at the time. Like, it got 100 views, and that was like, oh my god. And it's grown over time. I think it's up to like 10K now. But yeah. Okay, we are focusing on how to like make this work, because I'm going to use it. Enemy AI. That wasn't really a tutorial, though. It was more of a devlog, right? Like, I just went about talking about how I sort of made patrolling enemies in this, like, adventure game. So if I somehow... Yeah, well... rising tide lifts all ships, my friend. So thank you. The heck am I doing? Yeah, YouTube's hard though. I think like sometimes like it's a very harsh, like the algorithm can be very harsh, and like there are good parts about it and bad parts about it. So like, even if you make a video and it gets like tons of views, it's not necessarily like a guarantee that it's going to look favorable in the next piece of content. But at the same time, if you make a video and it bombs and it gets like no views, the next one's not going to be affected by that. So, you know, there are good and bad things. I think back in the day, it used to be like cumulative. So if you were getting successful, that would mean that your next video would be more successful. But realistically these days, every video is just a new chance to get more views and subscribers and all that kind of stuff. Like, subs as a number doesn't really matter. It's just like, it's a thing to make you feel good and make other people think you're legit. But just, you could have like 1 million subscribers and still only get 10K views on a video if it's a bad video, you know? Yeah, of course, dude. Right. Okay, so here I am thinking about enemies, objects. Do I want to know the player? I don't. Weapons? I don't. The world? I don't. So rigid body projectiles. That's it. Now, I'm kind of curious about the other projectiles that I made. And Let's go have a look at the bullet. What does it collide with? So it goes 136. So I really just need to hit 6 and 3 because I don't care about the world in this particular instance. Checking my DMs with Rocky. Going viral on YouTube. What is that? Like a... is that like chat? No, it's a Discord bot. Yeah, but like, I mean, I can't really read that because it's kind of like, it's like JPEG'd, but there's like, I mean, how do you define viral as well? Like I posted a short the other day, I got 10,000 views on that day. Is that viral? I mean, for me, that's a lot, but like in the grand scheme of what people can do with shorts, not really. And then I don't know, like, I mean, I've been doing YouTube. I'm by no means an expert. Oh, okay, don't read it aloud. Yeah, I can't read it anyway. But I would say like basically people will try to give you these ideas about how to be successful on YouTube, and they're all wrong. And it's just about like figuring out what works for you and just going with that. 10K in one day is really good. Yeah. And it was. And you know what? My next two got 500. And you know, that's just the algorithm, man. It's like, it's going to hit you. I thought like the next one would do well too, because it sort of followed the same theme. It just didn't hit. And that's okay. You just keep going. Okay. Yeah, my opinion is like, no one understands the algorithm. People will try to give you ideas about what you can and can't do. It's not true. I went away for like 9 months. I didn't post for 9 months. And I came back, and a lot of people would say that would kill your channel. I came back stronger than ever. Like that was when things turned around for me. So maybe taking a 9-month break is what you need to do. I don't know. Like it doesn't mean it's a hard and fast rule, but like, I guess the one thing that's ultimately true is the more you post, the higher chances you have of being successful. That's about all I would say about it. And then like define quality content, because some people post like absolute dog shit and it still does well. So, you know, everyone's different. Okay, so I should be able to detect some targets now while we yap about the YouTube algorithm. Let's pick this bad boy up. Okay, yeah, that's much better. We are detecting all of them. Making videos is like fishing? Absolutely, yeah. Making content for social media is fishing. And if you find something that does well, try and repeat it. And if it does well again, then you know you're onto something. Sometimes things will just go, and repeating it won't like make it go again. And you just got to move on and try something else. Like I did the, when people click, you got 5 to fix it. Yeah, it's really hard. It's like, view duration. The one thing that I've been focusing on probably for the last 2 years is getting my average, what is it called? There's a stat basically that says like how long they watch for. I forget the name of the stat. Let me have a look. I gotta click like a video to see it because it's a video specific stat. Under engagement. Okay, the percentage of viewers watching at the 30-second mark. So that for me is something that I've been trying to improve, because it's one of the biggest indicators, at least that I've seen, whether or not video is doing well. So if you can get it, like the last video I posted on Friday had a 64% viewers are still watching it around the 30-minute mark. And that video did very well. If people are dropping off in that first 30 seconds, it's like a killer. Your channel, like your video is just not going to do well no matter what. You always got to make the intro cool. Yeah, exactly. You have to do something with the intro. My average view duration is very low. It's about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And most of my videos are around 10 minutes long. So people generally are watching about like 25% of my videos. And I think that number is quite low, and I would like to see it go up. How you do that is anyone's guess, you know? I've tried making like super, I guess you would call it like Mr. If you talk deadly, then everyone will get bored. But there's people there's examples in the game dev space of people just like Mrs. is a really good example of a guy that has like a completely deadpan personality, and I think intentionally, right? Like it's his kind of thing, but it's a very successful channel. Like you got to talk with like a radio guy. Yeah, you definitely have to have a certain cadence. I don't know. It's hard. That's all I'll say. But hello, ladies and gentlemen. Something like that. Yeah, for sure. Good quality audio is really important. Video, I feel like video can be anything. It's like whatever. Ace Roller is another really good example. He's a guy I don't know if you guys have watched any of Ace Roller's videos. He does like game dev stuff, right? And I think like the key standout for his videos is obviously he knows what he's talking about when it comes to graphics. How long have I been making games? Cassie Code asks, how long have I been making games? I probably have been making games, I want to say since 2020. 2020 is when I made my first game. I was interested in game dev for like a few years before that. I think I really started in 2018. I started to try and learn to code in 2015 after like a few years of not being successful. In 2018, I started learning Blender because I wanted to make 3D models to get involved in making games. And what? Cassie fell in love? That's weird, bro. Anyway. But yeah, so I probably, in 2018, I started getting interested in learning how to make games. I started to learn how to make Blender. Yeah. Well, Rocky got me fully off course. That's a weird comment, bro. But yeah, I've been doing it since 2020. Okay. Let's see. Actually, no, I'm good. This is working now, so I can loop through these and see if they're potential targets. Yeah, I think you mentioned that last time. You're doing 60 days of Blender for free. I think that's great. It's that's good. Make content. For sure, it's the way to go. Okay, so now we can loop through these. We basically want to copy the projectile code on the on body that entered. We want to say if the body is in group and if it has method hit successful, we're going to hit successful. So now that we can do that, we're going to do it here. Projectile spawned race for print. This is where we're going to do that. I hope he means that, Cassie. Because if he doesn't, I might have to put him in a timeout. If body is in group. Yes, we've got the body. Hit successful. And body has method. Hit successful. Yep. And then hit successful emit. Projectile queue free. And then we can delete it. I am fully confident that this is going to work without issues and I'm not going to have to address the code anymore. Okay, so the ultimate test is to shoot it at the ground where it's not going to hit anything and see if they react. And they don't. So there is still work to be done. The other way to test this is to look at the targets because they should all be killed and they're not being detected at all. And now the game just crashed. So we've still got a little bit of work to do here. Now, let me think. For T and targets, if body is in group and body has method hit successful. Okay, so I'm making a key mistake here. I need to go to, so what I need to do is actually, okay, here's what I've done wrong. If you haven't spotted it already, because it was a pretty obvious mistake. I'm basically looping through and doing the damage to the single object that I've hit, rather than doing it in the targets. So what I need to do is actually go like var, next, no, I don't know. I need a name for this variable. It is going to be the damage target. We'll call it that. I'm really bad at figuring out names. And we'll just set it equal to targets dot get collider. No, not explosions. Explosion. My naming. Get collider. And it wants an index, which is T. And this is actually what we're going to call this function on. Not the body. We actually don't need the body in this. We're going to need to make it underscore. Hit successful. Make that underscore. I should be happy. Now, I have confidence that this is going to work and not crash, and we'll all be happy. Okay. I did get okay. So, the next thing that we need to do is actually, no, we should be applying the damage. Target dot hit successful damage. Okay, but let's go back and have a look at how I've done things in the past. I'm also, okay, so the other thing that I need to consider is that it needs to probably be a little bit more like the hit scan collider, because we need to calculate the position and the direction of the object in relation to the center of the collision shape that we're spawning. So that's the next thing that I need to consider. I skipped a bunch of steps. So we need damage, direction, and position. So those are the things that we need to calculate here. So target direction. No, damage direction. Let's got an N in it, which is really wrong. That's not how you spell damage. English is not my strong suit. I did not do well in school for English. Damage, direction. No, I can type this because it's going to be a vector 3 and I know that for sure. And I like typing things when I know what it is. The damage direction is going to be equal to the position of the collision location minus the position of the damage targets. Damage target dot global position and then we're going to wrap this all in brackets and we're going to normalize it. Normalized. Okay. All right, so that should just be a vector just pointing in the direction of the object because that's the direction we want to push it. And then the other thing that we want, actually, you know what? If I'm sort of like remembering how I set this up. Not that. Give me the physics objects. We calculate, hey, Blood Mage, how are ya? If direction is not equal to vector2.0, we apply the impulse is direction times damage And the hit position is like position minus global origin times transform. So the direction has typically been the direction of the shot, and the position has been like where it got hit, I believe. Let me have a look at this. So hit scan damage, we're passing in the collider, we're passing in the bullet direction, which is the point minus the bullet point dot global transform dot origin normalized. So in our case, this is going to be the explosion point, and we're going to subtract probably the center point of the object that we're doing damage to, because that's sort of like, if you use it with my hands, explosion point, and then this is the object. Say the object is over here. I should probably just draw a picture. Use my hands. What the hell? Just be like a normal streamer and use paint. Well, I don't have paint, but you guys know what I'm trying to say. You know, I've got a box over here. We've got the explosion. This is our point. And then we're trying to get this line here. So it's really the position of the box in this case, which is going to be our other location. But realistically, they need to be swapped, which I think I did. Because point minus bullet point, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter for those. I guess we'll see what happens. But the other thing that I need to think about is, I've sort of lost myself here. Rocket launcher. Let's have a look at the original script. Point minus bullet point, fine for bullet direction. The position, which is the bullet collision dot position. So this is the position. You know, actually, it might be easier if I just call this function, honestly. Hit scan collision. It does it. It does. The problem is, like, it wants to know it. What does it get past? It gets past an array, which is the collider and the position of the intersection. And no, it wouldn't work anyway, because like I'm like, oh, I could just like do a raycast, and then it would be fine. I could call this function. But the bullet point is a bit of an issue because it's not really what I want to use. But okay, well, I don't want to do a raycast. I could just pass in the same number. It would work. I don't like it, but it would work. Keep spelling things wrong. Let's just see what happens. Hello. Thank you. It crashed. Non-existent functionized normal. I can't spell. Has it got a Z? Let's just go look it up. It does have a Z. I wonder if that's like, it's not my fault. It's the fact that I just have a different like English language. Whoa. It worked. It definitely worked. Let's see that again. And this time I'm going to shoot it there. Bam. Okay, so there's a lot of force being applied to these, and I would say that's probably mostly due to the damage multiplier. How much damage do these do? I forgot. I put 20, I think. 100 did a lot, but that did way more. So let's start with that, because... Oh, you mixed the S and the Z too? I wonder if that's like... is it spelt with an S in like UK English? I'm kind of curious. Normalized versus normalized. Okay, normalized and normalized are both English terms. Normalized is predominantly used in America and English, while normalized with an S is used in Britain and obviously UK, Australia, and New Zealand, and like any other colony that the UK took over. Okay, so it's not my English, but it is my English. Good times. Okay, so let's have a look at the amount of damage that I'm applying to this, because it went flying, and I think we're basically there. It's just, yeah, it was a lot of damage. So it's a balance thing, you know. I'm doing 20. Let's turn it down to 1 and see how it goes. Okay. That looked how you would expect it to, right? Like that's sort of a typical man, they go spinning. I wonder if that's probably got something to do with my math, right? For them to go spinning like that, because I just sort of cheated and passed in the same number. But I mean, realistically, that's pretty good. It is more force than I was expecting. I wonder if it's... I don't know. Right? Because, like, here's another weapon. It does 1, and that's how much force it applies to it. And here's this, and they just go flipping flying.